now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.
Mr. President, we welcome today's meeting of the General Assembly on the items implementation of the resolutions of the United Nations and revitalization of the work of the General Assembly. We would like to congratulate the permanent representatives of Ghana and Slovakia on being appointed co-chairs of the ad hoc working group, and we wish them every success. And we noted the high level of professionalism demonstrated by the preceding co-chairs at the 73rd session. And it was thanks to their work that Resolution 73/341, which was adopted on 12 September last, became more reader-friendly and implementable. Work done at the 73rd session showed that success in revitalizing our work here is possible only when there is broad consensus support for it. And it was understanding that led us to come up with a carefully balanced and well thought through text. And the output of the upcoming negotiating round will depend to a large extent on the willingness of states to listen to one another. The Russian delegation stands ready to participate actively, and the upcoming 75th anniversary will be an opportunity to do this. Our efforts here must be depoliticized and geared primarily to enhancing the effectiveness of this organ. That can be achieved through further streamlining our working methods and dealing with the issue of an overloaded agenda. And here we have to continue work on possibly biennializing or triennializing some agenda items and removing others that are no longer relevant. We support initiatives to lighten the high-level week, and this was a point made by our colleague from Zambia speaking on behalf of the African group. It's very important that any changes in the number of events should take into account the interests of all member states. We believe that all proposals should be based on full respect for the division of powers between the principal organs of the United Nations, as enshrined in the Charter. The Security Council is quite often criticized for infringing on the powers of other organs in the United Nations, and we share that concern. Our colleagues in the Security Council know that we are very restrained in this area, and also in the matter of thematic debates. But recently, and this is not because of what we have done, there has been an increase in the number of thematic debates, and we would call on those that advocate them to take account of what realistic work the Council can actually do on those topics. Recently, attention has been given to transparency and democracy in the procedures for selecting and appointing the Secretary General. We believe we should continue work on how to improve the procedure, but also there has to be strict compliance with the provisions of the Charter of the United Nations, whereby the Secretary General is appointed by the General Assembly on the recommendation of the Security Council. And of course, we can never forget that the main task is to elect the best possible candidate for the post of Secretary General. If we try to over-codify the procedure, this would be fraught with possible undesirable consequences. And on the question of implementing the resolutions of the General Assembly, we see the problem not only or not so much as a question of a lack of political will, one of the most important factors is how implementable a resolution is. And so before moving ahead with a draft resolution, we have to ask to what extent would it be implementable if adopted. And we have to avoid any approach where it leads to a division among members of the United Nations rather than bringing them together. It is, of course, true that resolutions adopted by an overwhelming majority or by consensus are more likely to be implemented. But that requires work, the arts of diplomacy, a willingness to compromise. But unfortunately, not everybody agrees to that approach. So we have to avoid any approach whereby people focus only on very, very short-term advantage. We would like to wish the co-chairs of the working group every success in future, and we stand ready to cooperate fully with them. Thank you.
I thank the distinguished representative of the Russian Federation.